We need your support. Click the like buttons below. Now onto the video. Welcome to readtheticker.com. Today I'm going to show off the quick draw guide tools and how you can quickly evaluate a chart. We're looking at a Newcrest Mining, which is an Australian gold stock. A gold stock of this nature has the currency and the gold metal behind it if something is going up. So if the gold is going up and US dollar is going flat to sideways, that's good for the Australian dollar, and it's good for gold, and it's good for any gold stocks in Australia. So these are one of the most bullish charts in the gold stocks in the world. This is a very very attractive stock. It's Newcrest Mining. Now I've set the chart up to be Gann friendly. So I've got time to price 1:1, which basically means the pixels on the right hand column, which is price, is equal to the pixels on the time ratio. Right, so that means I can draw quick Gann angles and what have you to see what's going on. Now if I can go Control Z, sorry, if I just go Z and hold the key down, I can draw bullish Gann angles. So here we are, we see it's following along the 1:1 line. Now I'm going to put some arcs in that. So I think M is just the arcs, so just do 2 points. What's J? Right. What I'm following is, or I'm talking about M's and J's, I'm actually following the quick draw guide here, and you have the letters down there. You just hold the key down and you can just draw them. Okay. So now we know it's a very bullish chart, with the Gann angles holding the 1:1. We also know that it's right on 50% retracement with the Fibonacci, and all that time it's been up there, which basically means this chart is bullish. We also know, just a bit of eyeballing, this presentation here is similar to the presentation over here, this last spotting process. Okay, draw a trend line down there, boom, boom, trend line down here, boom, boom. I mean, that's what they call a fractal. As you can see, that's incredibly bullish. Now the Australian symbols or Australian stocks don't have the same liquid option market, so therefore they are less prone to high frequency trading and derivatives and things like that. In the United States market, they're more clean and they're very Wyckoff and Gann friendly. Okay, so a lot of bullish signs to this chart so far. So I want to measure thrust. Here we have a thrust from there to there, and the thrust that the chart gives helps forecast the future. So if I say let's draw that there. Oh, whoops! I'm using control. Holding the M key down with the mouse. As you can see, that holds there. That's not a bad frequency. This I'm expecting some sort of topping, some movement to $26. Okay, we can do that exercise down here as well. If I can go here with the M. As you can see here, this very bullish breakout when the gold stocks were. Oh, I've done drawn that very well. Let's try this. Going to be a little bit more accurate. Okay, you see how these arcs, and every sort of arc is attracted at a consolidation. Okay, so the thrust up is equal with the arcs. As you can see, it went much further. I think if I took, I did a couple of tests, that and that. Around there. Now the way you select the 2 points for the arcs is actually do a Fibonacci count. So the number of bars between that dot there and that dot there should be in the sequence of Fibonacci, like 1, 3, 5, I think it's 8, 13, whatever the rest of it is. So here you see the arcs fit in a bit better. Okay, and obviously when it fails, here's a weakening thrust. Using the D key with the finger on the mouse, that's the thrust is weakening. You see this big violent action here. See that big degree of violence? The big sell-off is greater than any sell-off beforehand. Just to remind you, I think that looks very similar to what's going on with Apple at the moment. You see that? Doesn't mean the sell-off means the top we might get still and move up, back up to the highs. So it just goes to show that the end is near for these FANG stocks, but it might take another 6 to 12 months. So back to the old Australian gold stock. We're looking at symmetry, Gann angles, Fibonacci, and also here's a Fibonacci retracement. I'm using the E. Hold the mouse down 2 points. You can see here the speed. We would have expected a consolidation around there and fall, but it failed to break through that. It's actually testing the outer lines. The further it goes up there, the more bullish it is. Obviously there's support there. So this stock is looking really good. Now, obviously it found support. Whoops. I'm doing a horizontal line, which is just holding the H key down and get a horizontal line. So you see how it bottomed out there. So, right, I think another one is let's do a bearish Gann angle down. That's just using the X key. You get the draw. Oh, wait a minute. Now, we're drawing Gann angles. You can see that it's the green line there, which is the time to price of 4 units of time. 1 unit. Sorry, it should be there, right? It's 4 units of price of 1 unit at a time, so it's very fast. Okay. And as you can see here, we've got a crossover of Gann angles. So this point, this whole pattern here. Come on. This whole pattern here is a pause, and as we see, we're beginning to break out. So time and price have worked together, and now we're going to get a confirmation of the trend. Now, Gann angles, you can either draw it from the first pivot point. So I'm using my Z again, hold the Z key down and draw that out, or the second pivot point, because normally the first pivot point, the first draw is a bit of a panic, so it's going to be, it'd be a bit, psychotic. So you can always select the second or lower pivot. Oops, I'm drawing with an X, finger on the X key, Gann angle, see? A little bit better. Yeah, the green line hugs the price a bit better, breaks, a bit more meaningful. That's because there's a bit more panic and price is a bit psychotic, going all over the place. So just take your time to explore the chart and see what's fitting. Okay. So right, the channels are very good as well, but this is not a very channeling stock. I mean, there's no real channels involved in this one. You might be able to draw some channels up here. Yeah, see the point there. Channel. This is a bit more. I don't have enough data going back to the 50s to see how the big channels are. But I'm a big fan of channels. But this one doesn't really allow me to show that off. The golden ratio. The golden ratio is, for example, if I take the S key and I draw 2 points. All right. What it measures, this takes the measurement between this point here and that point there, and then it draws out 1.68, or 38, or 66. Okay, so it's Fibonacci ratio. It's the golden ratio. You've seen the golden ratio demonstrated in seashells and what have you like that, and the human body. You can just Google that. Golden ratio is very powerful. For example, how would you use that? Well, let's say we've got a consolidation. I'm going to click the S here. So here we've got a base consolidation pattern, right? Now this is the price range, and if we, price is moving up. Once it breaks past this little 33 and 66 type ratio around from this, which is measured from this distance here, right, these the two red lines. That basically means is that once it breaks out there, that's pretty much we're off the races. It's trending up. We could always get a false move and it actually falls back down. Bit of a weird thing. Okay, so the golden ratio can have two forms. You can do it sideways. Now, I find this measurement can be quite accurate to confirm trends. So here we've got a situation where it's breaking past it, so it's still another bullish picture. We can use I, which is doing it vertically. Okay. We might take a whole pattern like this. As you can see here, this measurement of this consolidation, it showed that the trend lasted up there and got weak and broke down. The vertical comparison of the golden ratio versus the horizontal, I find the horizontal will be way more accurate and very, very, very good. Now you want to pick the consolidation of, whoops, where are we? S. Hold it. Well, by the way, when you got a line, when you've done some drawing, come here. You just double click it to clear it. So I'm just going to do S here. See, oh, that's interesting. So here's the main part of the consolidation. Yeah, broke down there. It's very bearish and bottomed out about down there. So the golden ratio works in charts. I mean, if it's going to work, it's going to work all the time. Same with Gann angles, arcs. If the chart is sympathetic and shows symmetry, if the tools work earlier on in the chart, they're more likely going to work on in the future. So it's a great clue. So you're judging price action and you're measuring thrust. Thrust is a strength or weakness. So if thrust advances in the same manner and form, here's another thrust there. That is strength, right? Thrust could make new highs. Okay, you can help measure how strong a chart is. Okay, what else is there? Oh, pitchforks. Okay, so what are pitchforks? Don't use a lot of pitchforks. Some people do. So you do those. Oh, there you go, pitchfork. 3 points. Just choose with a P. P for pitchfork. I use channels preferably, and it shows the pattern and the thrust and how it's been captured by the lines up there. So I use all these quick draw guides to find what's working in a chart. And if I want to save them, I use the objects and within the analysis chart to draw them on hard line, so they're there every time I come back to it over the weeks and months in the head. At the moment, I see this one of the strongest stocks in the Australian market. It's I believe it's going to take out the 44. Definitely go there. Once the gold movement gets going, it may still consolidate for some period of time. For example, let's have a look at Y. Y is a cycle type thing, measuring two distances. So here we've had that base there, that's just going on, it's just extending, so it still could go sideways right up until early part of 2020. So just to reiterate, you can use other tools I've got as J, which is the the angles and the arcs together. So if I want to do that one, so you can see the 45-degree angle and the arcs working. That's not a very good. It's not bad. We might try this one. Right, so if I was drawing this properly, I would take the time to count the bars in between these 2 points. In this face, it's a daily chart, every bar is a day. Now for that sequence there, say I counted 6 or 7 bars, I want to make sure I've got a number of bars which equals the Fibonacci sequence. So I would count 8 bars, and I would put the 2 points based on the number of bars. Now what else have we got? I think we've got K. Whoops, K is nothing. Oh yeah, K adds the boxes. And something else is okay. So you can just use N for the grid. N is on its own. Here it goes N. So what is N? So for example, if we size out a box of activity, maybe like that, we can judge the next box of activity. Okay. I don't really use that a lot, but it's for those who are true Gannists, they can use their box tool. So that's one half box there, half box there, another half box. Okay, makes sense, but don't use that a lot. I prefer the Gann angles, the arcs, golden ratio, Fibonacci E, which is E retracement, obviously. You see it break through the lines, you know it's weak. I use all these tools in relationship with the Wyckoff logic. Obviously widespread, narrow spread, all matters. But when you're pulling up a chart and you have a quick examination, I set it to Gann, I start playing around with Gann tools. It's always great to see price charging along on a one-to-one line. I mean, that is just attractive. And you understand what's going on. You can put, that was using a Z, if I put the bearish Gann angle with an X on the pivots, I can see how it's getting through. So that's how to understand a few tools to start judging price action. And if you find that a chart is friendly to symmetrical tools of the Gann angle, golden ratio, Fibonacci arcs, you're going to find they're going to be useful in the future. That's because the crowd around it, the people trading it, create this human element within the chart that show that it is supported. Okay, that's always, it's a technical thing. You can always obviously throw in your fundamentals, but it's good to know that if you're going to get involved in a chart, the price action, whether it's supported or not supported. And if all of a sudden you find that the tools aren't working, that means the institutions and the big money behind it have stopped supporting it. Let's one more look. Right, so here we have 45-degree angle and it's starting to break down. See how it's breaking down, it's weak. Yeah. Let's have a look at top. We put that on the previous point there. Yeah, takes that out. Using the X here for bearish, yeah. Of course, you've got your vertical trend lines, which is the V. You've got your horizontal trend lines. You've got the trend lines on an angle with the ray. You've got these. What else is there? Yeah. Plenty of tools there on the quick draw guide. Now, as you say, these are soft tools which are drawn on top of the chart. If you ever want to save any of these, you go to the analysis chart and you draw them in hard, adding dates and locking them in. And when we draw our locked-in trend lines, we lock it into the price, so when you come back to it, it's not going to move. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching.